girl Tamara Martins, and this is WithT. Now, on today's episode, we are talking about toxic relationships. Toxic relationships are relationships where there's so much strife, division, arguments. It's a situation whereby the one or two people involved are being abused emotionally, physically, psychologically, mentally, or in whatever form. You're just abused to a point where you no longer recognize yourself. There's a lot of unhealthy issues going on inside there. So my special guest today talking about that is Emem, my baby sister in Minnesota, who has volunteered, and she also was married for many years, but sadly the marriage ended in divorce. So she's here to talk to us about that. The last time I saw my sister was in 2016 when I went to Minnesota with my son Harel to attend her, the marriage then, this marriage that she has just left now. So let's hear from her. Let's hear in her own words why you should leave toxic relationships and when to leave. Hello everyone, this is your girl Tamara Martins, and today I am talking to my special guest all the way from Minnesota, USA. Introduce yourself.
Hi guys, this is Emem, Tamara's younger sister. Happy to be here.
All right, so let's just get into it. Today we are talking about how to let go of toxic relationships. When is it okay to leave toxic relationships? And she knows all about it, so I'll just let her go into her story straight away.
Well, I'm a single mom of 3. I was married for 11 years, and um, yeah. So when the marriage was no longer serving me, I decided to let go and move on with my life.
The way
Yeah.
you say when the marriage was no longer serving you, so is it like an encouragement for people to just let go of, to walk out of a marriage when it no longer serves them? So today we are talking about when to let go, when to leave toxic relationships. So should we just walk away when we stop loving the person, or should we just walk out when the person maybe starts snoring? Should we walk out of a relationship when it no longer serves us financially, emotionally? Why? So people want to know why, because you said you were married for 11 years and you had to let go when the marriage was no longer serving you. So can you expatiate, let people understand, or let people know what you really mean by when the marriage was no longer serving you, you had to walk out?
So, so of course, when you get married to someone, of course, your commitments you guys made to one another in front of God, that's important. You want to keep that. But for me, when the marriage was no longer serving me, it had to do with my emotional health. So if you feel like you're being emotionally abused or you're being physically abused or you're mental, like any form of abuse is not okay. So if you're in that situation, then yes, I would say walk away for your own mental health.
But the Bible says we should marriage. When you get married to someone, you're like one flesh. You become one. So are you not supposed to endure, pray for the other party or the other spouse for God to change him? Because definitely before you marry, you would have seen the red flags. You would have seen that there's something off about this person. So when you get married, marriage is not like dating or courting someone. Marriage is about tolerance, compromise, understanding. So don't these rules apply? Don't they come into play when you're married?
Definitely it comes into play, but again, from my experience, um, it's not everything that it's like not every marriage that works out just because you don't know that person's story. You don't know how their relationship started. You don't know how they met. You don't know, what their courting or dating phase looks like. So I can't really go into details about mine, but let's just say I didn't really know this person, that I got married to. Um, so of course I would want to advise anyone going into a serious relationship that you want to seek the face of God. You want to make sure that this is God's will for you. You don't want to go by your own, you don't want to do it by on your own. You want to like make sure that you involve God, and that's something I didn't do. So it's something I would advise, single girls to, make sure they do. Like seek the face of God, meditate, fast and pray. Um now, does that always work? You might not, again, you might still even with all that, still get married to someone that is still going to, somehow abuse in some form. Again, I don't believe God condones physical abuse or even infidelity, so adultery. So I believe that's the grounds for divorce in my opinion. Not even in my opinion, that's the grounds for divorce, even in the Bible. Now, don't ask me about the Bible verse because I don't have it right now, but it's in the Bible that yes, adultery is a basis for divorce. So
Okay, because like you said, adultery is very difficult because it's like taking, for example, you take a squeeze. If you take a squeeze, if you take like a plain sheet of paper and you squeeze it, that's like a partner cheating when you squeeze a piece of paper and then maybe you now try to straighten it. It can never go back to its original state because it's now squeezed up. So that's how a relationship is, like trust rather. when um
mhm.
when your partner cheats on you or strays and everything and tries to make everything right, it can never go back to its original state because for the lady, she's always wondering, okay, every time he goes out, is he going out to see the other lady? Is he cheating on me again?
Mhm.
There's always that fear.
Mhm.
There's always that, it can never go back the same. It only takes the power of God and forgiveness. But the Bible does say we should forgive, 70 times 7. Is it possible for us to forgive someone, that many times?
It's definitely possible. I mean, at the end of the day, it depends on. Of course, you have to forgive. I was just watching this movie the other day, Diary of a Mad Black Woman. I don't know if you've seen that movie. If you've seen it, she eventually forgave the husband, but
She,
there was the she eventually forgave the husband, the woman that was, abused by the husband, emotionally, physically, everything, threw her out of the house, because of another woman. So, I mean, and then when, destruction struck him, he went back and helped him. But at the end of the day, she didn't end up staying with him, but he forgave him, because her mother said when you don't forgive someone, it's like that person still has the power over you. But when you forgive them, you don't have that power over you anymore. So you're forgiving the person for yourself, not because that person deserves it. So you want to forgive that person to have your own peace of mind. So it's easy. It's definitely it's easy. It's possible you can forgive someone, but like you said, it's never gonna go back to being the same. It's gonna take a lot. If you decide to stay with someone that cheats,
it's easy to forget.
that's on you. That's on you if that's what you want. But and then it also depends on the person too. If the person is remorseful and shows that he's willing to change, then awesome. But if that person doesn't change, again, you take, anything I can say to me, anything I can say is take what you can handle. Everybody is not the same. Everybody doesn't have the same strength to want to stay in something that is not serving them. If you feel like you have the strength, then there's I don't think it's anybody's business. If you decide to stay in a relationship that you know for a fact this person is still gonna cheat on you, then nobody else has a say has a say in your marriage because that's your marriage, that's your life.
Yeah, because you're the
You
one
say
who
so.
so you know where you're 20, but I myself self personally, I do not condone physical abuse in any form or any shape, or even emotional abuse. Emotional abuse is as bad as physical abuse because you're playing on the woman's whole, you're playing on the woman's being, on the woman's intelligence. You're just playing with the woman's life, and a lot of women, can't handle it. So definitely, if I say if you're being abused, the physically run because eventually these cases have never ended up well. But you can run even as you run, pray for the person far away. Pray for the person
Yeah.
from afar. And like I said, like my sister said, when you forgive someone, you're doing it for yourself because unforgiveness is like taking poison. It's like taking poison,
Hmm.
drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. So forgiveness really it's like a healing, balm. So forgiving heals your
Hmm.
it heals your soul, it heals your being, it heals everything about you, and it takes away the control, the power of the other person that it takes away the power the other person had over you away. So
Hmm.
forgiveness is definitely a tool. So if you're going to living, but some people it's very difficult because in the African society, we Black women, especially from where we are from, if your husband cheats or misbehave, we are told to endure. He's going to change as long as he doesn't bring you sickness, as long as he doesn't bring you disease. You know,
I mean, trust me, I had many people say to me, "Oh, is your husband? Oh, was your husband beating you? Was he do?" I'm like, "No, he never laid a finger on me." Again, it's my emotional health was in danger. So when you get to a point that you feel like you're losing yourself, like you can't function, then nah, it's not okay.
you're suicidal,
So
and
I
you're
didn't want my kids. I didn't want because I have three girls. I didn't want my girls growing up to see me that way. I didn't want them thinking, okay, this is how a marriage is supposed to be. So yeah, I'm in a good place now. Um, I'm in a very good place now. And there's when one door closes, another opens. So I'm
Mhm.
happy. I'm happy where I am right now. God has also blessed me with a very wonderful partner. Um, so I'm happy how my life is going. So again, you want to put God in the middle, the center, top, bottom, everything of your of your relationship, if you want it to work out.
Yeah,
So
you mentioned how you didn't want your kids to see what you're going through, like you said, because kids are affected. Like I tell ladies, before you go into a relationship, you have to be very prayerful and like you're saying, put God in the center of it to make sure you're
mhm.
making the right decision. Because by the time you have kids, the kids are mostly definitely affected. I mean, from
Yep,
one situation, court cases, them going this week or that week,
back and forth.
staying with the father this week, staying with you. It's not easy on the kids. I don't think kids can be okay in even like you in that kind of environment. So divorce is simply, in my own opinion, not good because I feel it doesn't play good. It doesn't play well with the kids. So you really have
Yes, I mean, in certain situations, it can be very hard on the kids. But in my situation, it was more of like a blessing because my kids, I won't really say they were affected by it because they were like little. So they were kind of like used to the whole situation right now. They know when they're supposed to be with the dad, they know when they're supposed to be with me. So it's like and they're much happier. Like I said, they are seeing me happy, they're seeing their dad happy. So it's a win-win in my situation. But I know it's not like that for every other person. So it can be very, very hard on the kids, because sometimes they feel like were they the reason that their parents got divorced. So so yeah, it can be a very tough situation when kids are involved.
you
So
have
that's why again you want to be sure before you get involved and you get married and bringing kids into the world, that's a whole different ball game. So you want to make sure that you're making the right decision from the get-go.
okay, so you've told them they're aware of, they've been told that they're not the reason because, we get a lot of that from kids that where they feel that they were the reason why mom and dad are having this issue. So as long as that is ironed out. Anyway, so what can you tell people, about people that are still in toxic relationships? What can you tell them?
What I can tell you is that it's okay. It's okay to walk away. I know we live especially in the African society, it's like a taboo. Or when you leave, oh, they like, oh, you can't get, you feel like you can't get married again, or you become like secondhand goods. Like, I just want you to know that you are more than enough. Like, if you did all your best, you did all your best to make the relationship work, and it's not working, and this person is not changing. And again, I want to speak to the fact that it can be vice versa. It's not just women, men as well. If you're in a relationship that is not happy, you're not happy, you've tried everything, you've even maybe gone for counseling, you tried different ways on how to get your relationship back on track, and it's not going, it's just bringing you down, dragging you down. I'm telling you, it's not the best, especially if you have kids involved, because your kids are looking at you and they're soaking in everything. They're like sponges. It's going to affect them. So it's better you leave. Again, it's not for stupid reasons like, oh, I'm not in love anymore. Oh, this person is messy. Like, so, there's a lot of flimsy, stupid excuses that people get married. I mean, sorry, get divorced. I'm talking about the very serious things, that affects you emotionally and mentally. That's when you need to say this. I know it's not easy for some women, especially women that don't have anything doing. That's why you want to make sure that you're make sure that you're independent, because if you're like fully dependent on a man, that's not a good thing too. So you want to make sure that you're self-sufficient, that you have something going for yourself. So if this kind of situation arises, you can easily walk away. um I mean, in the US here, it's we have the law protecting, protecting us, mainly women. But I mean, it's not something I really agree with, because at the end of the day, it should be whoever um is not really like
Whoever messed up.
or whoever, like, well, it depends. It depends. So I'm talking about like kids wise, because sometimes I know women here, they kind of like use the kids as pawns to, get at the man. But if the man was, there for the kids and everything, then it would be only be fair for it to be a fair divorce. But sometimes it just goes all the way to the women. We get everything over here. But I know in Africa it's terrible over there. There's no law, no form of security for the women. It's like a man can just wake up and kick a woman out of the house, say, I don't want to marry you anymore, like send you back into your family. So um but hopefully, I hope things are changing. I don't know how that is going, but I had a lot of friends that were in that situation when I was in Nigeria. So, but yeah, if you find yourself in such situations, you want to find someone you can confide in. If you have family, hopefully your family is supportive. But my family was very supportive. So um but yeah, it's tough. You need a lot of support. You need a lot of support getting out of a toxic relationship. It's not easy. It's not easy, but it's worth it. That's all I can say.
All right. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for your
Mhm.
knowledge of wisdom or your opinions. Thank you for
And now wisdom.
uh, all right. Thank you
Yes,
for
sir.
your time. All
All
the
right.
Soda USA. Say bye to the viewers.
Bye. This is my nephew and my niece. My
Okay.
nephews and my nieces. All right. Take care.
That was my sister Emem, Minnesota, on her reasons on why she left her marriage. Like I always say, the opinions given on this show are strictly our own. So those were her opinions, why she left her marriage. The marriage was no longer serving her, where she felt she was not just herself. And, in order to live a healthy life, for her and her kids, she decided to leave. Now, for me, I always say pray until something happens. People deserve as many chances as you can give them, but definitely if it reaches a point where you're being abused physically, that is where I draw the line. I say run. You can pray for the person from afar. As children of God, we have the power inside us to change every situation, as long as someone is willing to change. Like I would always say, as long as someone is willing to put in the effort and they are willing to change, they deserve as many chances as they can get. And if they refuse to change and they don't want to change, then for your peace of mind, me, like I say, I would leave. I would just keep a clean break, keep your heart pure, no malice involved, no don't just cast the person away. Always have the person, if the person especially was very, very close to you and meant a lot to you, always keep the person in your thoughts and in your prayers, and just pray for them. So that's all I can take on today's show. Remember, God loves you, I love you. Until I see you again on another exciting, controversial, or whatever episode, it's your girl Tamara Martins. Bye. Peace.